What if I told you that some of the most intense and gripping scenes you see in today's entertainment are rooted in centuries-old traditions? In Squid Game, the mega-hit TV drama, you'll find that the legacy of traditional Korean games has been remarkably persistent. But before these childhood games were turned deadly on screen, they were once carefully documented by writers and painters. One of those artists that did so? Kim Jun-Geun, better known as Gisan. Gisan was active in late 19th century Korea, a time of growing contact with the outside world. His paintings, created primarily for foreign travelers, diplomats, and missionaries, were sold as souvenirs. Gisan and his patrons favored domestic scenes, vivid snapshots of everyday life that reveal much about 19th century Korean society. His work captures the patterns of ordinary people, their labor, their dress, their celebrations, and most vividly, how they had fun. Games. You might notice a number of recurring themes and motifs featured in his 380 unique paintings. Among them, 36 works focus specifically on traditional Korean games, from children tossing stones to adults locked in spirited contests. But why games? Compared to his contemporaries elsewhere in Asia, this focus stands out. The proportion is unusually high, raising questions about what games meant to late 19th century Korea and what they revealed about society, community, and the values that shaped everyday life. American ethnographer Robert Stewart Cullen noticed this uniquely Korean subject of painting. He included Gisan's illustrations in his book, Korean Games with Notes on the Corresponding Games of China and Japan, published in 1895, possibly the first Western publication to document Korean games. From children flying kites in competitions to women enjoying elegant swing jumping, Gisan's paintings echo this vibrancy, depicting games not only as leisure, but as shared ritual. Gisan's paintings reveal how games were deeply woven into the fabric of daily life in 19th century Korea. These games, many of which are still played today, reflect enduring truths about human nature: the desire for community, the instinct to compete, the need to collaborate, and at times, the struggle to survive. These same themes take on a darker form in the recent global mega-hit Squid Game. The contrast is stark, but the thread remains. In both Gisan's Korea and Squid Game's dystopia, play becomes a powerful lens through which the tensions and truths of society are laid bare. Here's a Gisan painting, with young girls huddled around the game board. Another group tosses pebbles in a game of precision. One girl carries a baby on her back, watching the fun unfold, perhaps waiting for her turn. Though it is often remembered as a girls' game, 공기놀이 was played by everyone, girls, boys, and adults alike. Above all, it was a game of dexterity and chance, creating a ritual of laughter, learning, and mastery. But one wrong move and the whole rhythm could collapse. The silence before the catch is always thick with tension. The fear in that moment of anticipation is always louder than any cheer. Here, some boys take turns kicking a chegi, a weighted shuttlecock. You can see it sail through the winter air. It looks simple enough, but every kick demands focus, balance, and timing with precision. The goal? Keep it in the air for the longest. And here are three boys, bundled up in coats, chasing some spinning tops across a sheet of ice. Their long braids sway as they dart around with practiced ease. Cracks and lines under their feet hint at the frozen pond or stream below. What joyous moments! But what happens when these childhood games are stripped of their innocence? What happens when competition is not simply for fun, but for survival? This is 줄다리기, Korea's traditional tug-of-war. Much like the Western version, it's a test of strength, yes, but also a test of rhythm and coordination with your team. Played during village festivals and seasonal rites, 줄다리기 once symbolized the collective hope for a bountiful harvest. Even today, 줄다리기 lives on at school field days and in regional celebrations as a symbol of teamwork and shared identity. Now listen, hear the drummers. one on each side, hammering out heartbeats on barrel drums. Their rhythm fuels the sheer intensity. The beat drives the teams, lifts the crowd's spirits to a fever pitch, and pushes the tension to a breaking point. In Squid Game, the rope is a line between life and death. There's collaboration, but no true camaraderie. There is only a desperate will to survive. And losing means the end. Not all traditional Korean games were friendly or innocent. One such game, Seokjeon, or Stone Battle, blurs sport and warfare together. Held on Boreum, the first full moon of the new year, crowds of young men from Seoul and Pyongyang used to head up into the mountains, excited for this raw, physical contest. Here, men become warriors. Fists rise, feet charge, stones slice through the air. What began as celebration could shift swiftly into danger, a festival that pulsed with energy, but flirted with real violence, and sometimes turned deadly. Look, you see young men from every class and corner of Korean society. The noblemen with their tall horsehair hats, the scholars in their neat robes, townsfolks and commoners in simple garb. There are even monks and mourners in attendance. Seokjeon united them all in a shared purpose of activity. Games like Seokjeon were more than entertainment. After all, in the case of war, young men needed to be prepared physically and mentally. They needed to practice what it was like to act collectively with brutal purpose against a common enemy. Just like in Squid Game, there were no accountability for any tragic consequences. Injury became honor. Risk brought potential prestige and admiration. Likewise, play becomes performance. What was fun is transformed into a stage for desperation, for power, for death, all for the entertainment of the viewers. So, what does it mean to participate in a game like this? What is the purpose? Is it just to win and to become the victor? Or is it a ritual to gain a position in a community? What made Squid Game so strangely familiar yet thrillingly foreign to millions around the world? Perhaps, like Gisan and others' paintings from more than a century ago, it showed us that play is never really just play. Whether painted for curious foreigners or dramatized on a global streaming platform, these games remind us that we are bound by the same instinct to compete, to cooperate, and to survive, oftentimes all at once. This is probably why Robert Cullen was attracted to Korean games. The games felt exotic, but they were relatable. They belong to a specific culture, yet they resonate universally. Where once Korean games became known through painted souvenirs, now they are known again through a story of desperation, spectacle, and survival. The legacy of Korean games proves that even the simplest pastimes can say so much about who we are, how we live, and how we play, together and alone.